Hello, this is Jackson 100 here. Welcome back to another video. Today I've got a deck for the Time Travel 2004 tryout duels. This is a completely free deck, so no investment needed. I went 9-2 getting replays for this video, so it's definitely a better deck than the Loaner ones. Although I'm not the highest rank, so if you're high rank you might do a little worse. This format isn't quite Go Control, there are some differences, so there's no Sangan, no Graceful, no Delinquent, no Mind Control, and no Drop Dust Shoot, for some examples the cards that Go has that this doesn't. And then there's also some cards that this has that Goat doesn't, for example, Change of Heart, and maybe a pretty big one is that there's Gadgets, which is one of the Loaner decks. I'm not too sure how good of a deck it is, but it's probably a pretty good deck, and they're all probably in and out of the Gadgets are, so it might be worth testing that out. So it's done enough. I got 2 Magician of Faith. I'm not too sure how good she is without the really good spell cards, like I've got no Pot of Greed in here, but you know, it's just could be able to add back one of your spells, and is a light for Chaos Sword, because you know, lights and darks are really important. If you look at this deck, I think everything but the Mystic Swordsman level 2 is either a light or a dark. I've got Mystic Swordsman level 2. He is a searchable by Rota, and he's a knock, basically as a monster, so flip effects are very important in this format, so being able to destroy face down monsters before they can use their effects are pretty good. And then Rota's just really nice in this format because how useful it is to search all the warriors. It's a nice toolbox deck. So I've got Spirit Reaper, so he can't be destroyed by battle, which is really good against the Loaner decks, because other than Gadgets, which have the Raigeki break, they have a hard time outing this, and then if they have no field, you can attack, and then discard a card from the hand, which is a pretty nice way to get advantage, which is something similar you can do with Don Zalug, who, when he inflicts battle damage, will discard a random card from the hand, and it's a warrior, so searchable by Rota. We've got 3 Blade Knight, so he's your big beater, becomes 2k when you have 0 or 1 cards in your hand, and then also he just adds full of monsters if he's the only monster on the field. So again, searchable by Rota. Maybe you don't want to play this card though, because normally you play more spell and trap cards when you play Blade Knight, because it's a lot harder with more monsters to make him 2k. So we might have to play like a Zombie of the Dark here. It's like 1 or 2 copies of that, just as another big beater. Then I got 3 Gravekeeper Spy. This card is actually goated. Even though it's reduces 2000 defense wall that summons another one, it's really hard for the Loaner deck to start this card unless they have Tribe Infecting Virus. And then it's just really good Trooper Fodder for Zaborg. We got 1 Breaker. It's either a 1900 attacker or a 1600 that can pop a back row, so it's good utility. I've got DD Warrior Lady, so searchable by Rota, and his card that bounce basically anything. You also play DD Assailant. It's kind of like her, a bit bigger but a bit worse effect. We got Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, so Mystic Swordsman level 2, but for face-up defense monsters, again, searchable by Rota. Got 3 Dekoichi, so he's just a flip effect that replaces himself, and it's a dark for the Chaos Orc. We got 2 Zaborg, so this is like a tribute guy. You want to tribute over the Gravekeeper Spy, always get some advantage by being able to destroy a monster. I think this deck is called Thunderclap in Goat. It's a relatively new deck with the Zaborg. Then I got 2 Chaos Orc. Finally, this is the best monster in the format that isn't BLS basically, but BLS is high rarity, so not able to play it in this cheap deck. So banish a light in the dark, and then you can banish anything or attack with anything basically with this guy. So this is like the main reason I think you want to be playing your own deck instead of the Loaners, is you get to play Chaos Orc and like a Gravekeeper Spy. Then the spells I got 2 Knock. Again, flip effects is just very important, so it's out to that. Maybe you could play less Knock than 2. Maybe 1 might be good because the Loaner decks, some of them don't set too many cards like the Gadgets. They're already really normally the Gadgets, so you don't get too much value out of the Knock, but depends on what you play against. I got 1 Lightning Vortex, so this isn't the card that you normally play in Goat. Might maybe play it in the side deck, or it's really good with Thunder Dragon, but there's no Thunder Dragon in this. But it's just out the opponent's board. It's just a good card that I put in because there's not too many good cards when you're only able to use Ends and Rs. Then I got the Rota. This is a free card you get from one of the solo modes, so you should definitely have 1. Just useful fighting any of Warriors. Unfortunately, you have to craft a second one if you want to craft a second one, but maybe it's worth it because Warriors is definitely one of the best decks in this format. I got 1 Smashing Ground, again similar to Lightning Vortex, it's just the cards that outs opponent's monster, although again it's not a card you really want to be playing in Go, but it's fine. And I got MST, so back row is another big part of this format, so back row removal is good to be able to force your plays through. I've got 2 Book of Moon. You can use it to set your flip effect monsters to reset their effect. Or it's just good for stopping the opponent's attacks because maybe you set like a Blade Knight that's only got 1k defense, so very easy to run it over afterwards. And then just you can add back with Magician of Faith. Then 2 Dust Tornado, again back row removal is important. You normally only play 1 of this in Go, but yeah, playing 2 because not got the really good cards like Pot of Greed and Mirror Force or whatever. And I got 1 Ring of Destruction, just a really good piece of removal. In Goat format, this is different than current Yu-Gi-Oh! In current Yu-Gi-Oh! You can't use it to kill your opponent, but in Goat format, it's the original tech, so you can. So A very easy way to end games there is you just put the opponent on low life and then ring your own monster and win like that. Or you can, if your opponent's about to attack you for game and both of you have really low life points, you can ring to destroy the monster and then you'll get a draw, which is better than losing. Then we've got Torrential, which is a pretty good removal. We've got 2 Jar of Greed, so in Goat, Heavy Storm is legal. So what you want to do is not set a bunch of back row turn 1, you want to set 1, maybe 2 back row, because if they have Heavy Storm, if you set everything, you just get blown out and completely lose the game, and it's slow enough to where you don't need to sell your back row. And then Jar of Greed is just really good at punishing that, because you can set 1 and a Jar of Greed, make them want to Heavy Storm you, but then have got Jar of Greed, and you only went 1 for 1 with one of your best cards. Or if they're like a Dust Tornado or MST this, like, they just went neg 1 and, a Jar of Greed will draw my card. Got 3 Sakaretsu, just maybe the best type card is N and R, other than these two. Destroys monsters that's attacking. You can also play Widespread Ruin, which is like a slightly worse version of this. I've got Compulse, again, this is a card that you don't normally play too much in Goat, but it's just another trap card that I wanted to put in because it's decent. Again, maybe it could be a Widespread Ruin. And then lastly, I've got Cold Haunted, just, it's another free card you get, and then you just rebuy for any of your guys, which is, pretty good. Next I'm going to talk about some of the main decks in the format, and some ways you can upgrade the deck I showed at the start if you have some of these cards already, or want to craft them. This is Goat Control, the deck the format is named after. Traditionally it was one of the best decks, but nowadays there are better decks than it. The goal of this deck is to combo Scapegoat with Metamorphosis to summon Thousand Eyes Restrict, which can suck up your opponent's monsters. As I mentioned at the start, this format isn't quite the same as Goat, so you can't play Delinquent Duo, Graceful Charity, or Trap Dust Shootless in this deck, and Upstart Goblin is also limited to 1. So you'll have to find replacements for these cards, in basically all of these decks. Maybe you can take something from the side deck that all these decks will have. Chaos Turbo is probably considered the best deck in the Goat format. The plan is to draw through your deck with Dekoichi, Upstart, and Jar of Greed until you find your BLS or Chaos Sork, which are the best cards in this format. You also use Thunder Dragon to put an easy light in your graveyard that combos well for Raigeki Break. Warriors is a toolbox deck relying on a suite of warrior monsters you can search up with Rota like Blade Knight and Exiled Force, backed up with a plethora of trap cards and having BLS as a strong finisher. Panda Burn is a deck that plans on winning the game by burning your opponents by using the combo of Ajama Trio and Gyakugiri Panda, and other burn cards like Just Desserts. The deck also uses Gravity Bind and Level Limit Area B to stop the opponents being able to attack. Thunderclap is a newer innovation to the format, using Zaborg as a strong tribute monster while also mixing in both the warrior package and flip monsters like Gravekeeper the Spy. There are other decks in this format such as Reasoning Gate, Recruiters, and more degenerate decks like Library FTK and Empty Jar. I also expect Gadgets to be a strong deck, possibly with Monarchs, as that's what was played in the deck in Topping List when they finally came out in the TCG in 2007, although Monarchs aren't seen as a strong Goat deck normally. I got all these deck lists here from tournament reports on GoatFormat.com, which is a really good site for Goat format that has a lot of resources that will hopefully be able to help you build a great deck for this format. Here are some cards I recommend using to upgrade the deck from earlier. These are some great staple cards that you can use in pretty much every deck if you want to craft them, or already have them. Okay, so first game is up against the Gadget Loaner. I'm going to start by setting the DD Warrior Lady and the Jar. DD Warrior Lady is pretty good because even if they outer, we can banish the monster. And maybe you could have normaled it to play out knock, but I don't know. So I'm going to use red to get the yellow set to impasse. So I'm going to summon the Blade Knight, going to hit me with the Raigeki Break. I'm going to set the Sakura to impasse. I'm going to normal the yellow, get the green, but they can't have my DD Warrior Lady, which is pretty good for me. I'm going to normal the Blade Knight, going to get hit by another Raigeki Break, but now that I know there's no Sakuretsu or anything, I'm going to attack my DD Warrior Lady, clear the red. I'm going to tribute summon for this guy, but I've got the Sakuretsu armor. I decided to do that instead of using the Warrior Lady to banish because I've got nothing in hand. So I draw Dekoichi, going to attack and then set Dekoichi and pass. I'm going to set one and pass. I'm going to draw another Dekoichi. Going to flip Dekoichi before using the knock in case they have like a Torrential or something, which they do. And summon the Chaos Orc, summon the Dekoichi, hit them for a bunch, set them up for lethal next turn. So I'm going to Smashing Ground my Chaos Orc, set one and pass. So I do have game by tributing Zaborg, but I decided to BM a bit, show the Flip Book of Moon to reuse the flip effects, hit them with a knock, normal the Spy, and then attack full game. Next match is up against the Horus Loaner deck. So I'm going to summon the level 4 Horus and pass. And summon Blade Knight, crash into that. Set just a Dust Tornado. I don't want to lose to the Heavy Storm. Maybe I can set the Pulse, who knows. So I'm going to summon a bunch of monsters, then MSTV, which is nice because I actually get to use the Dust Tornado on something, which it wouldn't have been otherwise. Decided to go to the back row because I'm not too worried about taking the damage here. At worst, I've got Blade Knight to crash, which is what I do end up doing. I also set the Compulse of the Dust Tornado second effect, just so I can use it on my turn if I wanted to. So there, summon the 100 attack Horus guy. And draw the Koichi. So summon Donzalug, hit him up, and then get the discard of the Donny Z. I'm going to set one attack. I decided to Compulse just to protect my Donzalug, because I got this level 2, so I can get another discard from them. I'm going to summon the level 2, destroy them off so they don't get the effect, and then discard the 1600 guy from their hand, which is pretty nice. So I'm going to Heavy Storm me. I decided to book, just to take a bit less damage if they decide to attack, and if their last card was a knock, I'm fine with that, because that means they got nothing. So I set the Koichi attack. I could have summoned the Koichi, go for a bit of damage, but I'd rather value the drawing off it. So top deck the absolute best card they could. Gonna use a level 4 to kill my guy and then make the bigger one. So to draw another Moth, so just gonna set that, not got much going for me. Then level up even into the even bigger one. And Moth add back the Blue Moon. Which unfortunately doesn't do too much against this guy because his guy negates. But I draw Torrential, which is a nice out if he draws anything. Could have flipped with the Koichi, but decided against it. A bit low life points. If he doesn't draw a monster, but he did draw the monster, and I get to Torrential him. And I get a nice top deck of the Blade Knight, put him up for lethal next turn. So I'm going to draw, set a monster. And I'm going to draw the Spy, which is going to be enough to attack for game. Up next we have the Power of Fusion Loaner deck. I'm going to set to Koichi, set to him pass, find if I get heavied because I've got the jar. So I'm going to knock me. Funny thing about knock is you get to look at the opponent's deck, so if you try hard enough to know what's in all the Loaner decks, you can actually see what's in their hand. So I'm going to summon the Voice Raider, attack me and set 1. I draw a Spy, which is great because it walls the Voice Raider. So if they attack into me, they take 100 and they summon another Spy. Fortunately, they got the Tribe, which is the one really good out that the Loaner decks have. So I'm just going to set the Koichi and pass, not too worried about my life points here. So the Koichi's going to draw the Chaos Orc, and they're going to hit me. This turn I see a way to clear, so we're going to blow out the back row just to ensure the Blade Knight goes through, and it does, obviously, because I covered the back row. Which puts a light in the graveyard because I crashed, then it gets some of the Chaos Orc and banishes monster for the clear. He's going to set 1, I've got a knock for that. So I'm going to knock him, it wasn't a flip monster, but useful to do anyway, so get a nice draw of Donny Z, although it didn't have the Spirit Reaper. Just going to discard a card from his hand, get some damage. I'm going to draw a ring after he does nothing. So that means I get to put Spirit Reaper down 2, and go for 2 attacks, 2 discards. Just got a bunch of stuff with polymerization in his hand, which is, why the Loaner decks are not the best. Got a lot of bricks. So he's going to do nothing again and pass. I probably should have Ring of Destruction to kill him, but we just got the Spirit Reaper for game. So the final game is up against the Horus deck again. I'm going to start by sending Spy, I have Jar and passing. I'm just going to MST my Jar, which is a nice neg 1 for them, kick W, while the Jar is there, really good for that. So I'm going to summon the Fusilier, make the King Dragon with the Metamorphosis, which for some reason has an animation, who knows why. I attack my Spy, I'm going to get another Spy, and they send 1 and pass. I'm going to Rotor for the Donzalug, Lightning Vortex this guy, attack and then get the discard, which is a pretty good discard for me with that Tribe. Opponent's going to Change of Heart and then set 1. No idea why he did that, maybe he thought Change of Heart was something that was continuous instead of 1 turn, who knows. So they summon the Blade Knight, attack with the Moth, and then attack discarding his guard. And then got that Dust Tornado set. He's going to set another 1. And draw a Moth, set the Moth, and then attack into his Moth. And I'm going to have the same thing as last turn happen. I decided not Dust Tornado as back row because it's done nothing. I mean, if it's a Mirror Force that he's been holding, then good for him. He's going to draw Pogreed, which is crazy. I'm going to sack to him. He's going to chain Decree, but I've got the Dust Tornado to stop that Decree and get rid of his guy. Throwing some of the big one. And then he is wide open, and we're going to be able to attack for game. If you made it this far, thanks for watching the video. This has been Gadget 100 signing off. Have a good day.